Hey, we're two Star Wars nerds, and we have, in my opinion, a really cool video today because what we're doing in this kind of micro series is we're looking at characters we love in particular movies. So we have a whole series that we call Life and Lore, these live streams where we look at a character across the whole arc of their life. But what we're doing with this is we're actually breaking people down per movie. And so today we are looking at Anakin in Revenge of the Sith. I'm so excited for this. This is probably like my favorite character in my favorite movie. Like it kind of is like the pinnacle for me. But just to get things started, just talking about why he's a good character, why you love Anakin in Revenge of the Sith, why don't you start us off, Mrs. Two Star Wars Nerds?
Yeah, and what I really like in Revenge of the Sith, one of my favorite scenes that maybe isn't always thought of, I mean, I have a lot of favorite scenes, but one that's not like, oh, everyone loves that, is when they're going to rescue the Chancellor, and Obi-Wan is out for the count, and Palpatine tells Anakin to leave him, and he's like, his fate will be the same as ours. And you even just see that still, even though we're so close to that transition of Darth Vader, we just continue to get closer and closer. We still see Anakin has this big heart, and he's not willing to leave his friend behind, even through everything that they've been through, even though in Attack of the Clones he's complaining about how he's holding him back, and they have some, tension and drama within each other, but he still loves Obi-Wan. Like, that's so well known. And so that's one of my favorite actual scenes in Revenge of the Sith because of that Anakin. You just see that big heart of his. Also in Revenge of the Sith, you continue to see his pride and his ego develop.
Absolutely.
You see him become even more passionate, and that passion turns into like a dangerous passion. And then at the end, obviously, you see that transition to that iconic character that I grew up thinking was a crazy cool bad guy, Darth Vader. So just seeing how he got in that suit is obviously amazing. But you also see like a protective side to him with Padme. Like, he's willing to do anything for her, but the sad reality is he ends up being the one to hurt her. But that's a whole other other topic. But looking at the positives of Anakin and why he's a good character in Revenge of the Sith, I think it's his big heart, it's his passion, and you see that development of pride and ego. Like, those things are so important to who Darth Vader is when we come to know him in A New Hope. Oh yeah, and
why I think the prequels are so incredible in particular is it takes the amazing trilogy, I think almost flawless trilogy, 4, 5, and 6, and really there is this deepening through the prequels. Like even that line you brought up, like his fate will be the same as ours. Literally all 3 of them end up basically dying on a Death Star, and so it's like it's very similar. Just all of this stuff comes to a point in like the OT, and when it's like when the prequels through Revenge of the Sith, you get these really cool lines where things are very it just deepens the lore of what's going on. And for me, why I love Anakin in Revenge of the Sith so much is you have the little boy you see in the Phantom Menace, and then you have the villain you see in Episode 4 and Episode 5 and his redemption in 6. But you see this turning point, especially in Revenge of the Sith, where it's more of an embrace of the dark side, and you're beginning to see the events that took place in Attack of the Clones. You're seeing this flip. And I even think about Yoda's line, fear leads to anger, anger leads to hate, hate leads to suffering. And you're seeing this play out throughout Anakin's life. And I mean, there's so much at play in this movie. Like you mentioned, you have a lot of favorite scenes. Every scene in Revenge of the Sith is a favorite of mine. Like, I legitimately love every second of that movie. But we've talked about this before. One of my favorite scenes, and something that I think encapsulates how Anakin felt in Revenge of the Sith, is the duel on Mustafar. Him and Obi-Wan fighting, and you see not only, like you're talking about, the pride that's there, And even Dooku points that out in him. So it's like you see this pride that's there, and he's like, you know what, I was afraid of losing people. You know, I became angry at others, angry at the Jedi, you know, and he actually grew to have that hate in his heart. And that hate is released, you know, at the end of that duel.
Right.
And, you know, it's very heartbreaking to see, but I think Anakin's story is a point of tragedy. Yeah. And I think that's why this movie in particular works so well, is because it just paints this picture of a deeply broken soul of someone who was destined for greatness in this moment, completely missed it. But I guess the beauty of his story as well is that there's that comma, that it's like it's not the end of his story. And granted, while it seeps further into darkness before it gets better, you know, he's an incredible character. And like you talked about his passion and things like this, like I think it's very interesting, especially his interactions and dealings with the Chancellor, with Palpatine, to see his heart for Padme. You know, he's lost his mom. Really, I would argue there's 3 people, if you're just looking at the prequels, there's 3 people in Anakin's life that he deeply cares for, and that's his mom, that's Padme, and that's Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
If you throw in the Clone Wars, you have Ahsoka. And there is a special affinity towards Palpatine as well. But you see this manipulation of Palpatine, and I don't know, for me to see the lengths that he goes to try and save Padme, and then ironically, that's the very thing that ends up killing her. He's the very one that ends up killing her, you know, and it's just very fascinating to see. And I think he's such a well-written character, and he's believable as well. It doesn't feel like a plot device moving things forward. Like, he feels, when I talk about Anakin, it feels like I'm talking about a real person. So for you, this might be cool, you know, just because we're at the end of like the prequels in terms of Anakin's life. What's your favorite Anakin? Episode 1, 2, or 3? This is just on the spot.
I think episode 2.
Episode 2 is your favorite? Okay.
Yeah, I had a crush on that Anakin.
Oh, that's
I was
why.
a little girl.
That's why. You can't let go of that.
Yeah.
That's awesome. For me, it's episode 3. I think
but see,
it is.
with like episode 3, he starts to like really become Darth Vader more.
Yeah.
So I like him as
Can't
still
have a crush
like
on Vader.
No. But like I like him in Attack of the Clones because he's still that little boy, but then you're also pulling that Darth Vader too, and it's like the middle ground of it. Like, I mean, he's killing the Tusken Raiders and the village, but he's also doing like amazing things, and he's still pure, like still has a somewhat pure heart, as pure as it can be with the terrible things he's doing. But so there's that tension, and I think it's like the perfect balance, I guess, of little Annie and Darth Vader. Yeah.
I get that. It is a great place of tension in his life. That is the definition of tension in Star Wars there. You know, for me, episode 3, Anakin, is my favorite for a lot of reasons, but it's like all of it makes sense. Like, there's that tension, but I enjoy where that, I guess, tension breaks and you're seeing the descent into darkness. And there's even things that it's like super messed up, like with him becoming a Padawan at a age that was far older than most Padawans, and him becoming a knight older than most Padawans as well. But then when it's come time for the Chosen One, this incredible Jedi who has Padawan of his own, you know, and all this stuff going on, he's denied the rank of master. And it's that, in addition to many, many other things, makes so much sense for why he is the way he is. So
he has an amazing like character development and arc. Like, George did such a great job with Anakin.
Yeah, and for me, I like that a lot, because then when we see him, I guess, come back as Vader, you know, when he's rehabilitated to some form of life, and he's Vader, it's like it makes sense because you see exactly where he was.
Right.
So, what I'm really excited about is eventually we're going to just continue this, and we're going to go and look at Vader. We're going to look at all sorts of different people.
Mm-hmm.
We have a huge list that we're going over, and this is really cool.
It's like never ending.
Yeah.
There's so many characters in this beautiful galaxy.
There really, really is. But hey, if you're watching this at the time of the recording this video, we're past 1,000 subscribers. So thank you so much for that. It's a trip that we got there. But if you're not subscribed, go ahead, hit that subscribe button. We have giveaways at every single sub goal, and it's not too late. There is another one coming up, so make sure you hit that subscribe button and join for our giveaways.
Yeah.
But hey, with that, we are two Star Wars nerds, and may the Force be with you always.